Hi everybody, firstly I want to wish you Happy New Year. This is my first video of 2014, so Happy New Year. I hope you had a really good festive period and a good new year. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make another pair of fingerless mittens. And this time we're going to be using what is called the iris stitch. Not Irish, but iris as in the flower. But you don't need to know the stitch itself because I'll show you how to do the various makeup of the stitch. And the left hand glove is exactly the same as the right hand glove, so you only need to repeat the stitches to make the other glove. And this size is for just an average lady size, but if you want to make it bigger or smaller, you need to work to a stitch count of 4 plus 2. And what that means is you do 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, so it's 4 times table, and then at the very end when you've got a rough stitch that you feel that's going to work for you, then you just add 2 stitches on the end. So we actually start off with a stitch count of 30, so we chain 30 to begin. So but I'll put details, obviously there'll be a written pattern to follow this as well, which will hopefully explain that. Yeah, but what's really nice about this pattern is you can keep these gloves quite short, like I have, or you can repeat the pattern to make it much longer. So these are not just nice for a wintry glove, but also really nice to use for a wedding as well. So especially if you've got a touch of sparkle in the yarn, as my yarn has. Okay, so what shall we need? Okay, so for these gloves we're going to be using a chunky bulky weight yarn. That's a yarn weight of 5. Not to be confused with a super chunky, super bulky yarn, so it's just a chunky, bulky weight yarn. And I've actually chosen a baby soft chunky yarn, and like I said, it's got a little touch of sparkle in there just to make it a bit more interesting. We're going to be using a 5mm crochet hook, that's an H hook. We're also going to be using a pair of scissors and a yarn needle as well, just to sew in our ends. And also, if you like, you can grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, whatever you like. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so to begin, we're going to chain 30. And like I said, we're working to the 4 times table, which for this particular average size, that's the 4 times table, which takes us up to 28. So that's 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, etc. to get you to 28. But then you add 2 on the end, which gets us our 30. So if you want to make it bigger or smaller, just do the 4 times table. So you might want to work up to only 24 and then add 2 to get 26 chains to begin with. Or you might want to make it bigger, so you might want to work up to 32 and then add 2 to get 34. So for this size though, this is just average size, we're going to chain 30 to begin. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 29 and 30. So when you've got your 30 chains, or however many chains you require, you want to make sure that they're all flat and facing in the same direction. So you want to untwist your work, because what we're going to do now is making sure not to work any twists. We're going to create a loop by simply slip stitching into our first chain to form a loop. And a little trick as well is make sure your yarn's just at the top away, like so, and then making sure all your chains are facing nice and flat, facing the same direction. We're just going to bring it round into a loop, and we're going to put our hook into our first chain, like so, and then we just take our yarn from the back at the top and then just do a slip stitch. So let's just bring that through the first chain and then through the loop on your hook and work a slip stitch. So you still have 30 chains, but what you've done is you just slip stitch to join to form a loop, like so. And when you've done your slip stitch, what you want to do is to chain 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to skip 2 chains. So you're going to skip 2, so we'll skip the next one, 1 and 2. Then in the next one along, we're going to do 2 double crochet. So do yarn over, skip 1, skip 2, and put your hook into the next chain and do 2 double crochet. So there's 1, and yarn over again, going back into the same chain. We do our second double crochet like that, and then we're going to chain 1, so just chain 1, then we're going to do another 2 double crochet into the same chain again, so we can go back into that same chain and do another 2 double crochet. So that's 1, yarn over, go back in, grab your yarn, work your double crochet as normal. Okay, and that creates your first fan, which consists of 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, or the iris stitch. So what we want to do next is we want to skip 3 chains. So skip 1, skip 2, skip 3, then in the next one along we want to do another fan set. So we're going to do another 2 double crochet. So skip 1, 2, 3 chains, and into the next chain we're going to do 2 double crochet again. So that's 1 double crochet, go back into the same chain, do another double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1 like we did before. Then we're going to do 2 double crochet in the same chain again. So you end up with technically 4 double crochets and a chain 1 all in that same chain. That creates your next sort of heart shape fan shape, like so. So it looks a little something like that. And we're just going to repeat that again. We're just going to skip 3 chains again. So we skip 1, skip 2, skip 3. Then in the next one along we're going to do another fan set. So that's another 2 double crochet. So it's 1, and then another one in the same chain. Get some more yarn. Then we're going to chain 1 like we did before in between them. Then we're going to do another 2 double crochet in the same chain again. So that's 1 double crochet, obviously some US terminology, and 2. So we've done our next fan set. Like so. So it's starting to look a little like that. So at first you only skipped 2 chains, but in between these we're skipping 3. So again we skip another 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. Then in the next one we're going to do our next fan set of 2 double crochet. And then chain 1. And do another 2 double crochet in the same chain, just like we've been doing before, exactly the same. And we just repeat the same pattern around, so we're just going to skip another 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and then the next one, do yarn over. Next one we're going to do another fan set of 2 double crochet. Then chain 1, there's our chain 1, and 2 double crochet again in the same chain. So we're putting a lot of stitches into just one chain, but it all evens out when we start actually working this mitten. So there we go, so it should look a little something like that. And again we just skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, then the next one we do 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet again. So that's 1, 2, then chain 1, and then another 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. And then again we just skip 3 chains again, so skip 1, skip 2, skip 3, then the next one, sorry about the background noise, we just do another fan set, so that's 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in the same chain. And when you get to the end, because we're at the pretty much at the end now, in fact we are at the end, you should have 2 chains left, 1, 2, so we're going to skip those and then we're going to do a slip stitch in the top of our 3 chain, and we did 3 chain at the beginning if you remember. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, so we're just going to skip those last 2 chains and we're going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain, top of our 3 chains, just slip stitch to join, and like so, okay? So if I just show you what this looks like there, it actually looks very pretty in itself. So all we did was we chained 3 at the beginning, we skipped 2, then we did our fan set of 2 double crochet, 1 chain, 2 double crochet, but then we skipped 3 chains and did our next fan set, skip 3, fan set, skip 3, so on and so forth, till we got to the last 2 chains. We just skip those last 2 and we slip stitch into the top of our 3 chain to join. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next round, which is pretty much exactly the same. Okay. Okay, so moving on to round 2, what we're going to do is, let's bring that down, is we're going to chain 3 again. So 1, 2 and 3. We always start with our chain 3. And by the end of round 1 you should have 7 fan sets, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just to clarify that. So we chain 3 at the beginning of round 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to work our fan set of 2 double crochet, 1 chain, 2 double crochet. We're going to work that into our chain 1 space. So this space here, which we call a chain 1 space, because our little chain 1 was in between our double crochets. This chain 1 space here, we're going to work our next fan set, and our fan set is made up of our 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. So we do 1 double crochet, we're doing our fan set in that chain 1 space. We do 1 double crochet and then another one just into that gap, like so. We do our chain 1 in between them, and then we do another 2 double crochet in that gap, that chain 1 space. So that's another 1 and 2. So we've done another fan set, but this time we've done it into that chain 1 space of 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. And next we want to do another fan set in our next chain 1 space. So we're moving all the way over here to our next fan set, and in that chain 1 space there, where we had our chain 1 in between our 2 double crochets, we're going to work our next fan set of 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 1, and then another 2 double crochet, all in that chain 1 space. That's 1 and 2. Okay, so it's starting to look like that. So your fan sets are matching up with your fan sets from the previous round. That's important because you're working the fan set into the chain 1 spaces now. So for the next one, we don't do anything in the middle here. We're going over to our next fan set, and in that chain 1 space where we did that little chain 1, we work our next fan set of 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, and then chain 1 and then another 2 double crochet into that chain 1 space, 1 and 2. We're just going to repeat this round. Excuse me. I'm just going to repeat that round doing the fan sets in our chain 1 spaces. So the next one along, we find our next fan set, find our chain 1 and the space below, we're going to work on next fan set of 2 double crochet, chain 1, then 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, all in the same chain 1 space. Okay, then we find our next fan set here, 2 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and then our chain 1 in the middle, and into that space we work our next fan set. So that's 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Like so, and when you get to, we're back at the beginning now, we've still got 2 more, so we find our next fan set and we do exactly the same. Find our chain 1 space, work on next fan set, 2 double crochet, chain 1, chain 1, and then 2 double crochet. Okay, like so. Then we find our very last fan set here, find our chain 1 space, and we work another fan set. So all the fan sets line up with the previous fan sets, so they work in rows. I'll show you in a minute. Chain 1 and then 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. And then when we get to the very end, we find our 3 chain and we just simply slip stitch into the top of our 3 chains. We find our first chain, second chain, and our third chain, and then we just slip stitch just to join. Like so. So as you can see, it's starting to make, at the moment, a very nice little bracelet. But all the fan sets should line up, because if we look at this one here, you can see all the fan sets line up on top of each other from the previous round. Okay. Okay, so moving on to round 3, it's exactly the same as round 2. We just always start off with our chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3, and then we just work our next fan set in our chain 1 space. So we find our next fan, which is our 2 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and the chain 1 in the middle, and in that chain 1 space again we work our next fan set straight into that big gap, and that's with our 2 double crochet and chain 1 in the middle, and then our 2 double crochet. And as you can see, it lines up with our previous fan set. So then we find our next fan set, and in that chain 1 space we work our next fan set. And we just repeat that round for this fan set and this fan set in that chain 1 space, that chain 1 space, that chain 1 space, and chain 1 space, chain 1 space. And when you get back to the beginning, all we do is we simply slip stitch into the top of our 3 chain to join. We're going to do that for another 9 rounds, so including this round here, round 3, we're going to do that for another 9 rounds. So that's rounds 3, this one, up to 11. All the same, all starting the same with chain 3, then working your 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet into the previous fan set, into that chain 1 space. So these spaces here. Okay, so we're going to do that for 9 more rounds. That's rounds 3 to 11. Okay, so I'm just going to do that and then I'll come back and show you what to do. Okay. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the very last fan set, on the very last, on round 11. So we find our last fan set and our chain space. And annoyingly, I actually ran out of my nice chunky sparkly yarn. So I've swapped it to a plain chunky bulky yarn. Because I didn't have any more with a bit of sparkle, so that was a bit sad. So I recommend getting a couple of balls, a couple of 100-gram balls to make these, just in case. Okay, so then we're just going to slip stitch into 1, 2, 3, top of our 3 chain to join our rounds. Okay, so you should have done 9 rounds to bring you up to round 11. It should look a little something like that. Okay, so all your fan sets should line up like so. Oh, it's just not sparkling at the top anymore. Very sad. But moving on to round 12, this is where we're going to work the thumb hole, and it's really, really easy because it's just about skipping a few fan sets. So we start off the same way, and what we do is we chain 3. So that's 1, 2 and 3. Like so, and then we do our normal fan set in our chain 1 spaces, but we just do that 5 times. You just want to do it in the next 5 fan sets. Okay, so I'm just going to do 5 lots of fans. So it's 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. So I'm just going to do this in the next 5 fan sets. So that's 1, then the next one, and the last one 5, 5th one along. Two double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Okay, so what we've done so far is we did our chain 3 and we've done 5 lots of our fan sets. We did 1 there, 2, 3, 4 and 5. What we want to do now is, I'll get my hook back in, is we want to skip the next stitch. So I want to skip this stitch here. I'm going to skip that one. We're not going to go straight onto this next fan set. We're going to do something in between some fan sets now. So we're going to skip this stitch here, this one here, and in this next one here, which is the stitch in between these 2 fan sets, so it's in between this time, we're going to work a fan set. So instead of working it into the chain 1 space, the next one, we're going to work it into this stitch in the middle. So we skip that stitch, and in this next one we're going to work a fan set. So 2 double crochet, two double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. And the reason for doing this extra little fan set just on the edge here is because if we just skipped and then joined further along, it makes this part where the hand goes, this bit here, it makes it too tight, and this bit here, this gap a little bit too big. So we add this extra fan set just to give us a little bit more space. So when you've done this fan set in that middle stitch there, what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch in the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. So we're going to skip these 2 fan sets at the end. You're going to skip those, and going straight over to our chain 3 at the beginning, we're going to slip stitch into the top of our chain. Like so. Okay, and then you've created your thumb space there, but this little extra fan set on the corner just makes this top part for the rest of your fingers a little bit more spacious. So what we're going to do now that we've created our little thumb space, is we're just going to carry on as normal. We're just going to do another couple of rounds, rounds 13 and 14, just exactly the same as what we've done before. So we chain 3, 2, 3, and then we go straight into our next fan set, into our next chain 1 space, do a fan set. So that's 2 double crochet. And you should be working with 6 fans now on the round, whereas before we had 7. We've now reduced it down to 6, because even though we skipped 2 fan sets here, we added an extra one there, so we've got 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, which we've just worked into. So we carry on into the next fan set. So just carry on the same pattern now as you've been doing, and then when you get to the end of this round we just slip stitch into the top of the 2 chain as normal. Okay, and you want to do that for 2 rounds, continuing the same pattern, so rounds 13 and 14. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the last, just working into this last extra fan set on round 13, chain 1. So we just work into every fan set now on this round as normal, not skipping anything or doing anything extra. And when we get to the end, after that last fan set, we just slip stitch into the top of our 3 chain. Like so. So that's round 13. Then we're just going to do one more round. Let's chain 3 again. It's the last round, round 14, and again we just work a fan set into each chain 1 space around until we get back to the beginning. Just coming up to the last fan set. 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, all in that chain 1 space. And then we just simply slip stitch into the top of our 3 chain. To join. Okay, so that was our last round. So all we need to do now is just trim our yarn and pull it up, and then we're just going to tie in our 2 ends. So we bring in our yarn needle, and what I do is I just go in between the next stitch and take it to the inside of the project, and then I work the yarn down just randomly through the stitches, and again a bit further down. Neatly as you can, and I come back in the opposite direction a little bit, then I trim the excess like so. It's going to repeat the same for the bottom. It's going to go to the back of my work, take it through some stitches and through some more as neatly as I can. You can obviously do yours a bit neater than mine if you've got more time. Come back in the opposite direction to secure into place, and then trim the excess like so, and then we're finished. So there's our second glove. So I'm just going to try on, this was our first one that I'd made, like so. And then this one, which sadly I haven't got the nice sparkly yarn at the top, which I'm very sad about. But we just pop that on. And these are both identical, there's no difference at all. And there's our second glove. Okay. And I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and managed to follow along. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below, and the written pattern will be available on my website or blog or somewhere, and I'll put a link in the description when it's available, so you can go check that out if you prefer to follow along to a written version. And although it's not sparkly at the top, I think these look really sweet, and I think if you can extend them, make them even longer, so repeats, instead of just doing rounds 3 to 11 here, you can do more rounds and you can make them really long, and that'd be really nice as like a sort of wedding accessory as well. But the choice is yours, and I shall be back soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching, guys, I really appreciate it, and I shall see you soon. Bye. Bye. Bye.